Another day for Trump in court, which means another day of Trump's groveling sycophants showing up, often bizarrely dressed like him, so that they can do his bidding while simultaneously proving to the American people that they are invertebrates who exist to serve their God King. But the problem with circuses like these is that they tend to attract a lot of clowns. This moment in particular was a nice little combination of hilarious and pathetic as far as Lauren Boebert was concerned.
And I want all of the news to start asking the question, what is the crime? Because everyone in this court has not been informed of what the crime is. The defendant does not know the crime that was committed.
That's Boebert squeezing a few more seconds of attention out while the rest of this band of Trump colon dwellers walks away from her, leaving her alone screaming at the mic. It does go to show, however, that no matter how humiliating a moment might be, still the Lauren Boeberts of the world do not care, because if it means they can get 5 more seconds in the spotlight, then they will gladly take it. Even if they look like fools while they're abandoned, even if their desperation is oozing from their every pore, still they want whatever spotlight they can get. Why? 2 reasons. 1, because these Republicans exist to bolster their brands. That's it. They will do anything for likes and clicks and follows. Ted Cruz is literally a podcaster with a side job as a U.S. Senator. They view these government positions as a way not to serve their constituents, but to attract audiences to serve themselves. Which brings me to reason number 2, money. In fact, in this very example with Lauren Boebert, you don't have to look too far. Here's Lauren Boebert's tweet where she herself posted the rest of her colleagues abandoning her, and right below that is, of course, the fundraising request. Give me $10 because I abandoned my job at the Capitol where taxpayer dollars fund my salary so that I could instead serve as a mouthpiece for the guy who paid a porn star hush money to hide an affair while his wife was at home with their infant son. Because don't forget, party of family values. And of course, it wasn't just Lauren Boebert. Here's the rest of this parade of lackeys and sycophants coming to Donald Trump's rescue.
We're here of our own volition because there are things we can say that President Trump is unjustly not allowed to say. This is a corrupt judge. These are corrupted witnesses. This is a corrupt prosecution that belies any sense of the facts or the law. And so we're going to keep speaking out against this. We're going to keep fighting against this. And we will head back to Washington as House conservatives saying that these undemocratic efforts must be stopped. They must be defunded. We must use our Article 1 powers to stand against election interference.
This is not a prosecution. This is a persecution. We have a 2-tier justice system in this country, and if a former president can be targeted by a woke and corrupt judge, then you can be targeted as well. Mr. President, we've got your back.
And yet we're supposed to believe his testimony as the star witness against President Trump. This is lawfare, again, to try to steal or to rig an election. You got a corrupt prosecutor, you got a corrupt star witness, you got a corrupt judge whose daughter is one of the leading fundraisers for the Democrat Party, having raised some $100 million. That's the judge's daughter. This is a crooked sham trial to try to hurt the nominee who's going to be the president of the United States, whether or not they like it or whether or not they want that to happen. President Trump is going to be reelected.
And so their goal is clear: to do what Donald Trump can't, to attack witnesses and the judge in an effort to destroy the integrity of this trial. Remember, the whole reason that Donald Trump is being gagged is because the court needs to protect the trial proceedings, meaning witnesses can't be made too afraid to testify and jurors can't be made too afraid to serve, for example, because this defendant is exacting revenge on them if they do so. And so in order to protect the integrity of the trial, and because this defendant has shown that he can't be trusted not to attack people, the gag order is in place. And yet because Trump has no shot at winning without scaring those involved, even if he himself can't launch these assaults, at least his loyal little doormats will be able to pick up where he left off. Like, for example, with posts like this directly from Matt Gaetz, where he says, "Standing back and standing by, Mr. President," which of course is a nod to Trump's message to the Proud Boys, a far-right neo-fascist militant organization. That means that in this scenario, Gaetz views himself and his colleagues as the neo-fascists. I'd say that these Republicans are telling on themselves, but that would suggest that they were ever actually hiding it. I spoke with MSNBC's Jason Johnson just yesterday about 2 things: why these Republicans are doing this, and more broadly, what message it should send to the American people.
Brian, and I go with the point that Yogi just made. All these people are fine. None of them are his family. How does this hit with anybody who's watching this trial?
Look, I think it's just showing the rest of the Republican base that they have a permission structure, maybe because this guy is a criminal defendant right now. They have a permission structure. It's okay. You can come back home to Donald Trump. We're all giving him our stamp of approval. But what it should really show Americans more broadly is that these people are supplicants.
Right.
They stand for nothing. They have no integrity, no dignity, no principles, assuming they ever had any of those things. And they will just cast off any of what they claim to stand for in blind deference to Donald Trump. And especially someone like Mike Johnson, who views himself as the world's greatest defender of the Bible, to then show up in New York voluntarily and defend a guy who is facing 34 criminal charges for falsifying business records related to hush money payouts for an affair he had while his wife was at home with their infant son, is just so beyond the bounds of logic and decency that, like, it just goes to show that anything these people have claimed that they stood for means absolutely nothing. They stand for power. They stand for, their deference to Donald Trump and nothing else. I also spoke to Congressman Daniel Goldman about this parade of groveling sycophants lining up to secure their spot in the protective warmth of Donald Trump's colon, and here's what he had to say.
I alternate between just feeling sorry for them because of how pathetic it is and being incredibly angry that they're using their official authority as members of Congress to try to interfere in an ongoing criminal trial. This is just yet another attack on the rule of law. It's an attack on our criminal justice system. And they seem to think that our criminal justice system can be used as a weapon by Donald Trump. But to the extent that Donald Trump falls into its crosshairs, then of course that's illegitimate. And the hypocrisy and inconsistency speaks for itself. But it's really a shame that they are using their time when there's plenty of stuff we could be doing to help the American people in Washington to go up and prostrate themselves in front of Donald Trump so that they can get favorable treatment from their cult leader.
And that interview with Congressman Goldman is coming out this weekend, and he pulls no punches. So if you want to watch the whole thing, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. But all of what we're seeing right now sends a message as clear as it is insidious. There is no moderating force in the Republican Party. All of these people are little more than extensions of Donald Trump himself. They will do his bidding openly and shamelessly. They will apologize for his criminal behavior. They will run cover for his fraud. They will carry water for his assault. There is nothing Trump could do that would ever be too much for them. And so think about the implications of that when it comes to a second Trump term. If they're out there running cover for his literal criminal behavior now, when we're during a campaign season, just imagine if he's in the Oval Office and doesn't actually have to face the voters and has the full weight of the federal government behind him. Right now, what we're getting is a taste, a warning of the complete lawlessness that will envelop the Republican Party if Donald Trump is allowed anywhere near the Oval Office again. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.